princes of the Edo, they went towards the Emli Chutz Lamachne. They were all contaminated because they just returned from the war. So the Chutz Lamachne, Vayiktzov Moshe al Pekudei Achoyel. Moshe became angry at the leaders, the ones who oversaw the battle. Sorry Alofim, sorry Meos, Haboim Mitzvah Melchoma. Those who oversaw the thousands or the hundreds, they had various levels of officers who were returning from the war front. And he was angry. What was the basis for his anger? How did you allow the females to live? They're the ones who are the culprits with the suggestion of Bilam that the Jews should betray God, al davar por, through the idolatry of por. He's saying many things. They're the ones that caused the Jews to betray God with Baal Por, and there was a magefa, and there was a plague. 24,000 Jews died. So Rashi says, "Vayiktzov Moshe al Pekudei Achoyel." Why he should have been angry at all of them? They're all tzaddikim, mamunim al achoyel l'lamdoch. So what does this teach us? That any failing of the generation is based upon the leadership. Why? If the leadership is proper leadership, this wouldn't have happened. Why? Because they have the ability to intercede and to prevent this from happening. So why did it happen? Because they didn't provide proper leadership. Therefore, Moshe became angry at those who oversaw the officers who oversaw the ones who went to battle. It says, these women are the ones, Rashi says, Magid shoyu makir nosam. They recognize the women. Zuhi shenichsho ploni bo. This is the woman who actually ensnared this person, and that person died. Now this is bidvar bilam. What do you mean, bidvar bilam? And Bilam wanted to curse us, and he failed. Hashem did not allow him to curse us, but we blessed. Omer lahem. He said to the Midianites, if you gather all the nations of the world, there's no way you could defeat the Jews. You know why? Because God's on their side. Here I wanted to curse them, and rather than cursing them, I blessed them because I had no choice. When God's on their side, Shema merubim atem nitzrim, are you more numerous than the Egyptians? Shoyu sheishmeus rechav bochor, bo vasichim ezo. I will advise you properly how to destroy the Jewish people. How? Elokeim shalelu sonazimahu. The God of the Jews cannot tolerate, will not tolerate. He hates licentiousness. And this is, he gave him the advice that the women should go out, seduce the men, and that would lead to the Balpor. So therefore, this was a ploy to destroy the Jewish people. So how did you let them live? These people were the ones who actually put a dagger in your hearts. How could you even consider taking any of these people, any survivors? No survivors should have been here. That was the root of Moshe's anger.
Right.
1 second. Limsol mal b'Hashem. They're the ones who caused the Jews to betray God. Now, the way Moshe internalized a betrayal of God and the way anyone else internalized it differently. He adds, Vatea magefa, and there was a plague. Sometimes a person, to appreciate something, you have to speak to him on his level. Limul lamal b'Hashem, we hear it. Chil Hashem, it's a terrible thing. But based on who you are, that will determine to what degree it resonates within yourself. Moshe Rabbeinu has no trace of self. He's purely a vessel for Hashem. There's no Moshe. There's only Hashem. So how deeply does it resonate, the concept of betraying God? It totally consumes him, at a level of intolerance that we can't relate to, ever. So therefore, he's angered. Do you know who these people are? This was a ploy, limsel mal b'Hashem, to betray God. For Moshe Rabbeinu to betray God, this is something, it totally consumes him. When he says to them, he could have said, these are the women who caused, which were as a result of Bilam's advice to betray God with Balpor. Then he says, Vatia Mageh for Badas Hashem. And that was the cause of the plague. What do you have to add that for? Why wasn't the first statement enough? So as I'm explaining, for Moshe, the first was, he didn't need the Magefa. That 24,000 Jews died in a plague. But for them, that they were not at his level to fully absorb and grasp to their core what actually this is all about. Do you realize what that is? 24,000 of you people died because of this. So this brought it to a full appreciation of why these people have to be destroyed. For Moshe Rabbeinu, it wasn't necessary. It would have been enough to say Limo Mal B'Hashem. That would have been enough. But because he's speaking to them, regardless, even these are the tzaddikim, 1,000 of each of the shvatim, these were the cream of the crop. But as much as they're the cream of the crop, they're not Moshe Rabbeinu. For Moshe Rabbeinu, it would have been enough the first part. Now, there's an interesting medrash. The medrash cites two psukim. One pasuk is a pasuk in Eov. In Eov it says, Lo yigra mitzadik enov. God will not deny from the tzaddik what his eyes want to see. So the medrash says, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu monea min hatzadik masher rotz liros beinov. God will not deny from the tzaddik what he wants to see with his own eyes. Lalamdoch shemoshe misave liros benikvas hamidyanim kodem she'amos. Moshe wanted to see the revenge against the Midianites before he dies. V'yimvaksh min HaKadosh Baruch Hu al kach sheyireim be'enov. He wanted to see with his own eyes that he should witness their destruction. V'olav nemar, and regarding Moshe it says, there's a pasuk in Tehillim, Yismach tzaddik ki chozeh nokom. The tzaddik will rejoice when he sees the revenge has taken place. Pomav yirchatz v'dam rosha, and his feet will be washed in the blood of the evil. Yismach tzaddik, there's a pasuk in Tehillim, Zeh Moshe. Which tzaddik is rejoicing is Moshe Rabbeinu? Ki chozeh nokom, that he saw revenge, nikmas midyan. Pomav yirchatz v'dam rosha, his paces he will wash in the blood of the Rosha Bilam. This is Bilam. Oma Moshe the Pinchos ula'anoshim atzovim. Yodeani shebilam Rosha shom. Bilam, when we go to war with the Midianites, Bilam will be there. Litol schor, he's coming to receive his payment for the 24,000 Jews who died in the plague. Acha hazeid bolitzon, when the wolf is among the flock of sheep, Pirslo Batsudi, that's when you put the trap. As the wolf comes into the flock, have the trap set, and you're going to catch the wolf. And he will come, do all kinds of witchcraft, sorcery, and I'm telling you exactly how to destroy him. And so on and so forth. And it continues. So Moshe Rabbeinu, although he knew that his death, his demise would be dependent on this, he went with joy to destroy Midian. Why did he go with joy to destroy Midian? What was the value of Moshe Rabbeinu's life? His value of his life was Kiddush Hashem, and to eradicate any level of Chil Hashem. What Bilam did, and what the Midianites, what they participated in, was to destroy the Jewish people. Who is Klal Yisrael? If there is no Jewish people, there's no existence. God created this world for His glory. L'chodi barosiv. His glory only comes through Klal Yisrael and the Torah. If there's no Klal Yisrael, there's no Jewish people, there's no nation who has any relevance to Torah. If Moshe Rabbeinu, every aspect of his being was only purely for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they went and they put their finger, Kaviochel, in God's eye. That's what they did over here. Therefore, the tzaddik rejoices, although he knows he's going to die, it doesn't make a difference. But this has to be done. And he does it with joy and with alacrity, without any hesitation. That's Moshe Rabbeinu. When he sees God's revenge being taken, because as long as they live, they represent Chil Hashem. What did we say? Where do you find something similar? Avram Avinu, after he was circumcised, he said at the entrance of his tent, at the hottest time of the day, because there were no wayfarers. And it says he was pained by it. What was Avram's pain? Avram's pain was rooted in something very similar to Moshe Rabbeinu. The world is a pagan world. Any person who ever came into Avram's tent, he entered as a pagan. By the time the hospitality was over at that moment, he became a monotheist. He believed in God. It's Chil Hashem. God funds the world, underwrites the world, and the people believe. They give their homage to some deity. He could not tolerate the pain. So if there are no wayfarers, every moment that a person doesn't come to his tent due to the elements, this Chil Hashem persists. No one's chipping away at the Chil Hashem. So how does Avram internalize this? You know, it's like a person, he's in Kiruv, and phenomenally successful. And he says, no, I take 2 months vacation. And when you take 2 months vacation, who's going to do your Kiruv? All those people, they remain Tinik Shenishbar. They don't know the difference. They're going to continue living like non-Jews. Every moment you're not there, this is being denied. The Chil Hashem continues. How do you take vacation? Every moment you should be involved, because every moment your contribution has infinite value. Therefore, some people, they have difficulty. You know, you have to go to sleep as much as you don't want to go to sleep, because this is just a reality of life. Person has to take a break once in a while. But how much of a break do you take? Do you take as much as you could take? Or do you take as much as you have to take? A person who's involved in L'Shem Shemaim and has this sense of the value of what he does, it's at a minimum. Or Habortzes HaTorah. If a person is able to influence people through Torah shiurim, or whatever it may be, it's the same thing. But factually, because he became angry, we find that afterwards, the laws of purging vessels were communicated through Eloz HaKohen, not through Moshe Rabbeinu. So the question is why? So Rashi says over here, Lefi shebo Moshe lechlal kas, because in Pasuk Chaf Aleph, because Moshe became angry, was drawn into anger, bo lichlal tos. It would have caused him to make a mistake. Shenitzal mimeno hilchos yulei nochrim. The laws of purging the non-kosher vessels were forgotten. And he shows whenever Moshe became angry, there was a blind spot and a mistake was made. In terms of Shmoni Mei Miluim, Amorim, when he struck the rock. Why did he strike the rock? V'yachas hasela al yidei kasto, because he was angry. The anger caused him to make the mistake. He was told to speak to the rock, but because he became angry at them due to the behavior, rather than speaking to the rock, he struck the rock. Now, what is anger? What happens when a person becomes angry? The Gemara says, "Kol hakois kilo ovid avodah zorah." A person who becomes angry, he's like an idolater. Now, why? What happens when a person becomes angry? At that moment, there's a certain irrational perception process that comes into being. You're rational, to be fully rational, it becomes off. Now, there's a famous Rambam. The Rambam says in Hilchos Deos that a Jew has to live his life based on the Shvil Azov, the golden path. What's the golden path? The equidistant path, which is equidistant from both extremes. The equidistant point. So he explains that if a person, let's say, naturally is generous, you have to be at the equidistant point. You can't do good things because naturally your inclination is to be generous. Why? Because if that's the case, it may be something maybe you should not support, and you may support it due to your evaluation is tainted on your conflict of interest because you want to be generous. A person's miserly, naturally miserly, you're withholding. But you should not be withholding. And you'll have every reason to be withholding because that is your inclinations to be withholding, and you'll justify to be withholding. But if you're at the equidistant point between both extremes, the person is fully objective, and because he's the fully objective moment, he's able to make that evaluation. What's the differentiating characteristic differentiates between human being and any other living species? Free choice. Free choice means you have to be in a position to fully exercise free choice. If you're subject to the influence of your inclinations, you're not fully in control of yourself. Your free choice has been impaired because it's attributed, your decision is not attributed to your free choice. It's as a result of your conflict, this actually interferes and does not allow your free choice to be fully exercised.